Hello and welcome to a new episode of Review. Today we will take a little glimpse into the near future when we are taking a look at an Airbus A350-900 in the colors of Lufthansa. And as always, we start with the box, and here we can see on the front side we have a very nice rendition of the aircraft, and then of course we do also have the Lufthansa branding. Now if we look at the back side of the box, there we can see again a very nice rendition of the aircraft. We have the original dimensions of the aircraft and some additional information as always. So let's look inside the box. And here she is, the Airbus A350-900 in the current livery of Lufthansa. Now this is of course a little bit of a glimpse into the future, as Lufthansa hasn't yet received their first Airbus A350. In fact, the first A350 for Lufthansa is currently in production. But nevertheless, Herpa, just like a kid waiting for its Christmas presents, couldn't wait any longer and released this Airbus A350 in the colors of Lufthansa. And if we take a look at the tail section, we can see here on the fuselage we have the full registration code and the German flag. However, I'm not quite sure if this is really gonna be the registration code that the first Lufthansa A350 will have, but I have a strong suspicion that Herpa has been talking with Lufthansa and made sure that it actually is. Then of course we have on the vertical stabilizer the Lufthansa branding, and on top of that also the last two letters of the registration code. Now if we move from the back of the aircraft to the front of the aircraft, you can see along the fuselage the writing of Lufthansa. Under that we have the aircraft type specification, then we have the Star Alliance logo, and under the cockpit windows we have the Lufthansa branding. Now the aircraft has actually no name printed on anywhere. Normally a Lufthansa flight would always be called after a German city or a German state, except for the A380s, which also have names of foreign cities, but in this case there is nothing printed on, and I suspect that's simply because Lufthansa hasn't decided yet what to call their first A350. And then if we take a look at the cockpit windows themselves, very nicely detailed here. This very unique Airbus A350 styled windows, looks almost like, I don't know, like sunglasses perhaps, but it looks really great. But there are more great details on this aircraft, including for example here the engines, or specifically the engine nacelles. They look extremely well made, and also if we take a look into the engines, that's actually also very well made. We see the fan blades and a lot of very nice details they've put into that as well, so great improvements here. And if we look then on the wings, they actually look also pretty decent. We also have the markings here for where you can step on the wing and where not. And if we take a look at the back side or the underside of the wings as well here, very nicely detailed. And that leads us to the next detail, which also has really nice improvements, and that's the landing gear. That looks really great here just under the wings, and also on the front under the cockpit, really nicely detailed. And then a detail that should never be missing are of course the doors to the cargo compartment, as we can see them right here. And that leads us to my two favorite details on this really awesome aircraft. Now the first you can already see, that's of course the winglets on the A350. Now the wings themselves, I actually prefer the shape that you have on the Dreamliner, but the winglets on the A350, they look really nice. This nice shape, round shape, I really love that. Now the next detail I have been waiting for years, and finally it's here. This little bump you have just in front of the vertical stabilizer, where you have all the telecommunication, internet, Wi-Fi and all that stuff. A lot of planes have that today, but Herpa has just not put it on any of the aircraft models. Finally you have it in a 1:500 scale, and it looks really good. And with this detail and all the other details which have gotten nice improvements, I really think this is one of the best aircraft models Herpa has ever released. And I might sound a bit overexcited, perhaps I am, because I've only recently acquired this model. Maybe I'm still a bit too fresh into it, but it is genuinely a very well made aircraft model, and you know, it's always nice to see that details are being improved, because for me, honestly, I think some details from Herpa, they are nice, but they don't improve them enough over time, and they just stick with them too long. So it's really nice when you finally see something coming out and you can see that they have been working on details. Now, before we end today's episode, I want to ask you guys a question. Now, which aircraft type do you prefer, the Dreamliner or the A350? Now, obviously these two aircraft types will go head to head in the future. Now, the Dreamliner has been a little bit longer on the market and is therefore a bit more known and a bit more common in the aviation industry at the moment, but that will of course average out over time. So what do you think? What do you prefer, Airbus A350 or the Dreamliner? Let me know in the comments below. And with that, we have reached the end of this episode. Now, if you have enjoyed, feel free to leave a like, or if you're new around here, why not hit subscribe? That would be absolutely awesome. And don't miss out on next week's episode, where we will take a closer look at a Boeing 777-300ER in the colors of China Southern Airlines. Now, until then, I would like to say thank you very much for watching. Hope to see you soon again. I'm checking out, and bye.